As I prepared for this service, I tried to come up with a good topic that is meaningful to me and will be interesting to you. Given the fact that it is Labor Day weekend, I should speak on work, dedication to work, and where it gets us in life. Most of you know that I retired this past June from 37 years of teaching high school biology. As I think back on my career, I have fond memories of the days spent in my profession, and I know that I made a difference in the lives of some. Whether it be a big difference or a small difference, I made a difference. That would be a good topic for a sermon also, making a difference. So there I was, not sure which way to go with my message for today. I pondered upon the situation and realized, hey, I think I can integrate the two topics. So, here it goes. Let's see where it brings us. As we reflect upon this Labor Day weekend, we realize and recognize and give honor to all of those whose hard work and effort made up the backbone and strength of this country. A day of parades, family cookouts, and rest are how we usually celebrate the occasion. To me, Labor Day always meant getting geared up for another school year, back to work, starting fresh, with all new faces in front of me. While this is not a religious holiday, there are still spiritual implications to our employments. For our work, be it caring for children, running a business, blue or white-collar jobs, whatever it is, it has a significant impact on who we are and what we become. An emphasis found throughout the scriptures is the importance and value of work. In the creation story, we are told in Genesis 2:15 that the Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to tend and keep it. Even in the very beginning, the Lord expected people on earth to work and take care of things. Then the fundamental principles, the Ten Commandments, tell us that we should give one day to the Lord, and the other 6 we shall labor. It is not difficult to see how valuable work is in our lives. Vacations are delightful, but where would we be without work? When we are forced to be idle due to illness or unemployment, how do we feel? The feeling of being useless, of having no meaning, can rob us of our self-esteem and can destroy our desire to do anything. This is why retirement can be a challenge to many. People who have been accustomed to hard work suddenly find themselves without any need to get up in the morning. Being able to find gainful employment or devote one's attention full-time to rearing a family and taking care of a home is a vital way the Lord has provided us to learn and to be useful. This brings me to the point of making a difference. Making a difference in the lives of others as we do our jobs, whether it's a paid position or a volunteer position or a necessary position as in the home, our purpose should be to make a difference. We should make a difference because our world depends on it, our fulfillment in life depends on it, and God expects it. I want you to remember those 3 things as I continue. Our world depends on us making a difference, our fulfillment in life depends on us making a difference, and God expects that we make a difference. So first, our world depends on us making a difference. Our world would never survive if people did not help one another. Where would this world be without the Good Samaritans? Where would we be without the Mother Teresas of the world who help the poor, the dying, the sick? Without compassionate people, the world would disintegrate into chaos. We need to be difference makers because our world depends on it. Secondly, we should be difference makers because our fulfillment in life depends on it. When we help others, we help ourselves. A deep sense of satisfaction and fulfillment floods into our lives when we take the time and energy to do something worthwhile for others, just to lend them a hand. I have a short story illustrating this. Thanksgiving Day editorial in the newspaper told of a school teacher who asked her first graders to draw a picture of something they were thankful for. She thought of how little these children from poor neighborhoods actually had to be thankful for. She knew most of them would draw pictures of food and pictures of turkeys. The teacher was taken back when a boy named Douglas handed her his picture. It was a picture of a simple hand, childishly drawn. The teacher discreetly asked Douglas whose hand he had drawn. "It's your hand, teacher," murmured Douglas. She recalled that frequently at recess she had taken Douglas, a scrubby, deserted child, by the hand. She often did that with the children, but it meant so much more to Douglas. Out of all the things he could have been thankful for, he was most thankful for his teacher's hand. Perhaps we can learn that it is not necessarily material possessions that people are in need of. They are in need of a hand that reaches out to them with the love of Christ. Remember this, there is no better exercise for strengthening the heart than reaching down and lifting someone up. So we need to be difference makers because our fulfillment in life depends on it. Third, we should be difference makers because God expects it. Some of the last words that Jesus spoke while on earth are recorded in Matthew 28:18-20. One of the scriptures I just read. Then Jesus came to them and said, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Therefore go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. And surely I am with you always to the very end of the age." Just before Jesus ascended into heaven, he told his disciples to go into the world and make more disciples. This means that all of us have been commissioned to go into our homes, our neighborhoods, our workplaces, and make a difference in the lives of people. Notice, Jesus did not say, "Go and serve yourselves and do whatever you want to do." He gave us an assignment to go and make a difference. So, we should be difference makers because our world depends on it, our fulfillment in life depends on it, and God expects it. God uses all kinds of people to be difference makers. We might think God's chosen would be intelligent, influential, wise, or of noble birth. But listen to some of these examples. It's interesting to note that some of the difference makers in the Bible resisted at first. I'm referring to people like Moses, Jonah, David, Peter. Let me tell you a bit about them. When Moses stood in the wilderness in front of the burning bush, he must have been glad to learn that God was about to rescue the oppressed Israelites from their Egyptian captives. But when God said in Exodus, "I'm sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people out of Egypt," Moses started making excuses. The man people considered to be Israel's greatest leader tried to get out of going and tried to get out of being a difference maker. God told Jonah to go to Nineveh to preach against their wickedness, but he went in the opposite direction and ended up in the belly of a fish. So God gave him another chance, and he actually became a difference maker. David had fought a number of battles and was finally king when he slid into bed with Bathsheba one night and got her pregnant. In an attempt to cover up his immortality, David, who is described elsewhere as a man after God's own heart, lied and murdered. But God gave David another chance, and he became a difference maker. Peter was chosen to be one of the apostles, but he later denied Jesus 3 times on the eve of the crucifixion. When he left the courtyard of the high priest weeping, Peter probably thought that he was finished as a disciple. But Jesus offered forgiveness and gave Peter a second chance. A few weeks later, the disciple preached the first gospel sermon on the day of Pentecost and became a main leader in the early church. Some of the difference makers in the Bible were actually unqualified, according to what we might think. God does not always use people who are wise, influential, or of noble birth to do his work. God chose the foolish things of the world to shame the wise, and God chose the weak things of the world to shame the strong. God uses ordinary people to be his difference makers. He uses people who initially resist, people who seem unqualified, and even people who have blown it previously. God uses people like us. A vacationing businessman was walking along the beach when he saw a young boy. Along the shore were many starfish that had been washed up by the tide and were sure to die before the tide returned. The boy walked slowly along the shore and occasionally reached down and tossed a beached starfish back into the ocean. The businessman, hoping to teach the little boy a lesson in common sense, walked up to the boy and said, "I've been watching what you are doing, son. You have a good heart, and I know you mean well, but do you realize how many beaches there are around here and how many starfish are dying on every beach every day? Surely such an industrious and kind-hearted boy such as yourself could find something better to do with your time. Do you really think that what you are doing is going to make a difference?" The boy looked up at the man, and then he looked down at the starfish by his feet. He picked up the starfish, and as he gently tossed it back into the ocean, he looked at the man and said, "It makes a difference to that one." Here we are, Labor Day weekend, 2014. Personally, as I reflect on my 37 years of service to the education of our youth, I know that I have made a difference, and it's a really good feeling. How often do you brighten up the lives of others with special acts of kindness? How often do you look for opportunities to touch lives? How often do you look beyond yourself with just a friendly look or gesture to someone else? It may be all they need to lift their spirits for that day. Personally, I come here on Sunday morning, and I truly feel the love, compassion, caring, concern, and friendship within this congregation. It is genuine, and I feel uplifted and cared about. People here in Center Brunswick Methodist Church are difference makers, and that's all it takes. Whether you are actively working, retired, caring for children, maintaining a home, or volunteering your time, realize how important your job is or was. And look at the people you have touched. Sometimes with something as simple as a smile. As an example of this simplicity, I have one more story. It's a story about a minister who every Sunday was given a rose boutonniere to pin on his lapel. Because this happened every Sunday, he did not think much of it. It was appreciated, but it became routine. Every Sunday he got his rose boutonniere. One Sunday, however, what he considered ordinary became very special. As he was leaving the service, a young boy around 10 years of age approached him and said, "Sir, what are you going to do with your flower? If you're just going to throw it away, I would like it." The minister smiled and told him he could have the flower, and casually asking him what he thought he might do with it. And the boy looked up at him and said, "Sir, I'm going to give it to my granny. My mother and father got divorced last year. I was living with my mother, but when she married again, she wanted me to live with my father. I lived with my father for a while, but he said I could not stay with him. So he sent me to live with my granny. She is so good to me. She cooks for me and takes care of me. She has been so nice to me that I want to give that pretty flower to her for loving me." This brought tears to the minister's eyes. He unpinned his flower and, holding back the tears, said to the boy, "Son, you cannot have this flower because it's not enough. If you look in front of the pulpit, you will see a big bouquet of flowers. Please take those flowers to your granny because she deserves the very best." The minister, seeing the ear-to-ear smile on the boy's face, felt a sense of fulfillment as he had made the boy very happy. The boy made one last statement to the minister that he has never forgotten. The boy said, "What a wonderful day. I asked for one flower and I got a whole bouquet." How simple to the minister, but what a difference it made to the boy. We need to be difference makers. Our world depends on it, our fulfillment in life depends on it, and God expects it. To be a difference maker, you don't need to be rich, you don't need to be perfect, you don't need to be highly educated, in good health, or exceptionally intelligent. You don't have to do a specific type of work. Regardless of who you are, where you live, how often you have failed, you can still make a difference. You can make a difference in the lives of other people. You can make a difference in this world. And if you think about it, you probably already have.